Narrator. In the late 1960s, Northern California lived in fear. A shadowy figure stalked the night, striking without warning, then mocking police with cryptic letters. He called himself the Zodiac. Today, we unravel the chilling history of the Zodiac Killer, the most wanted serial killer of the 20th century. The Zodiac Killer is the pseudonym of an unidentified serial killer who murdered 5 known victims in the San Francisco Bay Area between December 1968 and October 1969. The case has been described as arguably the most famous unsolved murder case in American history, and has become both a fixture of popular culture and a focus for efforts by amateur detectives. The Zodiac's known attacks took place in Benicia, Vallejo, unincorporated Napa County, and the city and county of San Francisco proper. He attacked 3 young couples and a lone male cab driver. 2 of these victims survived. The Zodiac coined his name in a series of taunting messages that he mailed to regional newspapers, in which he threatened killing sprees and bombings if they were not printed. He also said that he was collecting his victims as slaves for the afterlife. He included 4 cryptograms or ciphers in his correspondence. 2 were decrypted in 1969 and 2020, and 2 are generally considered to be unsolved. In 1974, the Zodiac claimed 37 victims in his last confirmed letter. This tally included victims in Southern California such as Sherry Jo Bates, who was murdered in Riverside in 1966. Despite many theories about the Zodiac's identity, the only suspect authorities ever named was Arthur Lee Allen, a former elementary school teacher and convicted sex offender who died in 1992. The unusual nature of the case led to international interest that has been sustained throughout the years. The San Francisco Police Department marked the case inactive in 2004 but reopened it prior to 2007. The case also remains open in the California Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Investigation. From 1969 to 1974, the Zodiac mailed heavily misspelled letters and ciphers to law enforcement and media outlets. Some letters began, "This is the Zodiac speaking," and were signed with a symbol resembling the crosshairs of a gun sight. 4 of the mailings had a cryptogram enclosed. 2 have been solved, in 1969 and 2020. The letters were postmarked in San Francisco and Pleasanton. The first murders retroactively attributed to the Zodiac were the shootings of high school students Betty Lou Jensen, 16, and David Arthur Faraday, 17, on December 20, 1968. Faraday was a student at Vallejo High School, while Jensen was a student at Hogan High School. At 8:30 p.m. Faraday picked up Jensen, and the couple visited one of Jensen's friends. Sometime after 9 p.m., they drove to the outskirts of Vallejo and parked at a lover's lane on Lake Herman Road, just inside Benicia city limits. Between 10:15 and 10:30 p.m., a passing motorist noticed the couple parked on a gravel runoff near the gate to a water pumping station. They were spotted again at 11 p.m. Between 11:05 and 11:10 p.m., Faraday and Jensen were attacked. Police determined that their assailant parked his vehicle about 10 feet alongside the passenger side of Faraday's car. He fired several shots at Faraday's car as he walked around to the driver's side. None of the shots hit Faraday and Jensen. The couple scrambled to get out through the passenger door. Jensen succeeded. As Faraday was exiting, the killer shot him in the head with a .22 caliber pistol. The assailant chased Jensen as she fled, firing 6 shots at her back. Only 1 missed. Police theorized the whole attack took 2 to 3 minutes. At 11:10 p.m., a motorist spotted the couple's bodies and alerted police. Jensen was dead. Faraday was still breathing. He died at the hospital. There were no witnesses and no usable tire or footprints. The only motive the police could deduce was a madman wanting to kill. Many have speculated that Darlene Ferrin knew her killer. Kelleher and Nye credit the origin of the theory to Robert Graysmith's 1986 book Zodiac. He argued extensively for a connection based on interviews with Ferrin's friends. A definitive connection has not been proven. Mageau gave conflicting accounts on whether Ferrin knew her killer. At the hospital, he stated he did not know the murderer. At another point, he said the assailant's name was Richard. Farron's sister claimed one of Darlene's boyfriends was named Richard. In the Zodiac's later correspondence, he only ever refers to Farron as girl. In Graysmith's telling, Farron and Majo were chased. They only stopped when their car hit a log and stalled. The detective on the scene noticed that the car was still on and in low gear. Kelleher and Nye suggest that Farron would not tell Majo to ignore the mystery driver, nor would they assume he was a police officer, if they had not stopped at the spot by choice. Farron did know Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday. She lived less than 2 blocks from Jensen and attended Hogan High School. She was also familiar with Lake Herman Road's status as a lover's lane. There is a picture of Farron and an unknown man who closely resembles a composite sketch of the Zodiac. In a 2011 episode of America's Most Wanted, police stated they believe the photo was taken in San Francisco in either 1966 or 1967. On August 1, 1969, the Vallejo Times, San Francisco Chronicle, and San Francisco Examiner all received letters written by someone taking credit for the attacks in Vallejo. The 3 letters were nearly identical and began, "I am the killer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman and the girl last 4th of July." The 3 letters were rife with misspellings and presented the first definitive link between the 2 separate attacks in Vallejo. "We're not satisfied that the letter was written by the murderer. He requested the killer send more facts to prove his identity." December 20, 1968. Vallejo, California. Teenagers Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday are shot on a quiet road. It was the Zodiac's first confirmed kill. July 4, 1969. Darlene Farron is murdered. Her companion Michael Majo survives. He describes a mysterious man with a flashlight and gun. September 27, 1969. Lake Berryessa. Cecilia Shepard and Brian Hartnell are attacked by a hooded figure with a symbol on his chest, the Zodiac's crosshair emblem. October 11, 1969. San Francisco cab driver Paul Stein is shot. Witnesses see the killer flee, leading to the infamous police sketch. But the Zodiac didn't just kill. He wanted fame. He mailed letters to newspapers, signed with his symbol, demanding they print his words. His ciphers promised to reveal his identity. Some were solved, revealing chilling messages. "I like killing people because it's so much fun." Others remain unsolved to this day. The media frenzy turned the Zodiac into a nationwide obsession. He wasn't just a murderer, he was a manipulator of fear. Police investigated countless suspects. The most infamous was Arthur Lee Allen, a man with disturbing behavior and circumstantial ties. But DNA and fingerprints never matched. Other suspects emerged over the decades, from schoolteachers to ex-cons, but none could be definitively linked. The Zodiac remained a ghost, always one step ahead. The Zodiac case inspired films, books, and decades of amateur sleuthing. Even modern cryptographers continue to decode his puzzles. In 2020, a team cracked one of his unsolved ciphers, but it revealed only more taunts, not his identity. To this day, the Zodiac Killer's true name remains unknown. Was he a lone madman? Or did he vanish into society, unnoticed? The Zodiac Killer may never be unmasked, but his shadow still looms over true crime history. He is proof that sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones we never catch. If you enjoyed this deep dive, subscribe for more true crime mysteries.